Welcome to prime time, bitch! Welcome back, you civilized beasts. Okay, let's get this over with. So, James, we're about to talk reality, right?
If I were to put a pig on this side of the room living and a butcher's knife on the side of that room, I mean, how many people would be willing to pick up the knife and take the life of that animal?
Well, if I was broke, hungry for a few days, and didn't have any food at home waiting for me, I'd slaughter the shit out of that pig, and I'd make criminals.
It's very rare, right?
Actually, most normal people would do it if they were hungry enough, but most people are spoiled.
And if somebody did that, that's all right, but how many people in this room would try to stop that person from doing that, right? Would we try that?
If it was his pig, nobody could stop him from doing that, as long as he makes the animal suffer as little as necessary.
Of course.
Yeah, that kind of thinking is the problem with you people. You don't respect other people's stuff, thoughts, or opinions.
That's compassion. I mean, that is the greatest quality in the human race.
Well, then it's also the greatest quality in the dog race. What's your point?
There's no other species on this planet that has that level of compassion.
Have you ever had a dog? They're far more compassionate than any human.
But if you would stop somebody from killing a pig in front of you...
Again, I'd only stop him if it wasn't his pig, or if he was making the animal suffer needlessly.
And then go home and have this for breakfast. Well, that's called hypocrisy.
No, it's not. Not if you own the bacon.
You know, just because it comes in a nice, neat package all dressed up in your supermarket, just because you didn't take the knife and shove it through their jugular, just because you didn't get blood on your clothes, and just because you didn't hear their screams doesn't mean you didn't participate in the killing.
No, somebody got paid to do it for me. It's how things work in our civilization and society, and I paid for the food. Killing is an act that takes normally a few moments to achieve, and normally requires contact before killing or during the killing in order to be a successful act. How could I participate in that killing if I only came into contact with the flesh several days after it was dead?
Every time we buy this product, we are supporting somebody else doing what we ourselves wouldn't want to do.
It's not that I don't want to do it, it's I don't take any pleasure in it. And if somebody is willing to do that as a job so that I don't have to, I'm perfectly fine with it.
What we ourselves wouldn't want to see and what we ourselves wouldn't want to hear.
See, my granddad was a farmer, and I saw farm animals get slaughtered on a regular basis when I was a kid. And all it did was teach me about the goddamn circle of life. And since I like meat, I wanted to know as a kid how it got to my plate.
Now, if you still see bacon, sausage, and ham when I bring a pig into the room, what happens when I change it?
I personally would only eat a dog in a life or death situation, in some sort of apocalypse. Then everything's on the menu.
Ah, right. It's the common response.
I'm pretty sure the common response would be very different in places like Korea.
No, I've never heard anybody say yum.
Well, again, I'm sure a Korean that likes dogs would say yum.
Nobody ever sees dog feet, hot dog. So, why not?
Because dogs are carnivores and they eat meat for the same reason that we need to eat meat. Why don't carnivores eat other carnivores? And why don't carnivores eat scavengers? Because your body takes nutrients from what you eat. We need nutrients from plants, but we can't digest them as efficiently as animals can. The cow has 4 stomachs to digest grass, and it grows from the nutrients that she gets from the grass. Her muscles are literally built from those nutrients, and that's why carnivores and omnivores eat flesh. But we also learned how to pre-digest it so that even on an omnivorous digestive system, we can basically get even more nutrients from meat than carnivores can. This method is called cooking. So we don't eat dogs for the same reason that dogs don't eat cats.
Why don't we see a food?
Because we selectively bred their ancestors to be companions, not food.
We've been accustomed to view this animal as our pet.
We don't view the animal as our pet because we're used to it. We view it as our pet because that's what we've been breeding them for generations.
The cultural story for us is, this is your pet.
We don't see wild dogs as pets.
In another culture, certain parts of the world, they eat cats and dogs.
Oh, so you know that.
That's their culture. That's their story they've been told.
Yeah, that's their culture and their history.
And how do we feel about that?
Well, I'm not okay with it, so I wouldn't tolerate it in my country, but who am I to tell people how to live in their own cultures?
A lot of people think it's disgusting, right? I imagine every one of you probably thinks it's disgusting to eat a dog.
I wouldn't say it's disgusting because in a dire need, that dog would look delicious.
Why would it be disgusting to eat this animal and not disgusting to eat this animal?
Because we bred one for eating and the other for loving. It's their purpose. We created these breeds by selectively breeding them, choosing traits we wanted. We wanted friendly dogs and yummy cows.
Why would it be wrong to eat this animal and right to eat this animal? And most importantly, why would it be wrong to kill this animal and right to kill this animal?
Culture.
That guy gets it.
It's culture. It's the story. It's the matrix that we've been told.
Not stories. History. One is fact, the other fiction. Learn what words mean.
But culture is just a story. That's all it is. It's just make-believe.
No. Culture is our ability to be creative and tell stories, like you are, but my female would be really pissed off if she heard you saying that culture is just a story. She's a culturologist. She wouldn't like it if you'd say that her entire field is just make-believe.
What I'm concerned with is what is natural to the human species. Because every culture has a different story.
I'd imagine every culture would have a lot of different stories. That's what makes cultures interesting.
So let's take a 3-year-old from any country in the world, and you put that 3-year-old in a room, and you line up 5 animals in front of that 3-year-old. A pig, a dog, a cow, a cat, and a chicken. Do you think the 3-year-old is going to know which one to eat and which one to pet?
I'd imagine so. I mean, by the age of 3, you already put through the farm noise simulator part of your education, and I think by the age of 3, kids already know what they eat and what they like to eat. But I think what you're trying to do is show what's natural, and domesticated animals aren't natural anymore. They're used to humans, and humans are used to them. By the age of 3, a kid has been conditioned by the culture enough that he knows which animals to pet and which ones are gonna be on the dinner plate tonight.
What's the 3-year-old most likely going to do? Or try to do? Play with them all.
If you wanted to show a natural reaction from the animals and the kid, you would use a wild boar, dingo, an orcus, a European wildcat, and a jungle fowl. These animals would see the kid as either prey or potential predator. Human children are born explorers and they will try to make contact with these animals to play with them. And if they encounter cubs, yeah, they will play with them because they have a simple mentality. They're children. They play. But adults will see that kid as either prey or predator, which means they'll try to avoid contact or attack and eat them. That's what would happen in nature. That's what would be natural.
He's going to try to play with them all. The 3-year-old has to be taught, no. Don't play with him. Eat him. Play with him. Pet him.
And on the specter of eat or pet, where does a lion lie? Neither, because those 2 options of yours only apply to domesticated animals, because they're no longer natural.
That's what we were taught. We didn't choose our diet.
I just told you we selectively bred animals. That means we chose our diet.
Our diet is a learned behavior. We were raised to perceive this animal as your pet and this animal as your food.
Because that's what they are. Can you please stop making me repeat myself? We are taught that because they exist to either be our pets or our food.
If you don't walk outside right now and you saw somebody taking a baseball bat to a dog's head, what would you do?
I'd stop him and demand context. Or if the context was clear, like let's say the dog is trying to bite a kid's face off, I'd let him do it. I'd help him. Let's say a dog was taking a nap. I would tear him to bits.
You take action. At the very least, you'd call the police because you recognize that as a violation of this animal's right.
Animals have our compassion, not rights. Rights are for people. We made them up. It's not a part of nature. I don't think you fully understand what the word rights mean.
To be free from harm. Now, if you were to walk outside right now and you saw somebody taking a baseball bat to a pig's head, would your emotional response not be the exact same thing?
Yes, I would want context again. There I go, repeating myself again. I don't feel as good when I do it as you obviously do.
Of course. Because the question for you is, what's the difference?
It's not a question for me, it's a fact. When questions are answered, those answers become facts if they are correct.
What's the difference between the two? right? Is there a difference? You might think one is cuter than the other, but that says more about you than anything about these two animals.
Exactly.
A lot of kids will say, well, the nose looks different. But I say, but they both got a nose to smell.
Yes, I think we all know that noses smell.
Some kids will say, well, he's got hooves and he's got paws. I say they both got feet to walk and run. Some kids say, well, his ears are going up and his ears are flappy. They both got two ears to hear. They both got two eyes to see. They both got a heart to beat and a mind to think.
Yes, we understand what organs do. Shit, damn it.
And the reason why we would take action for both of them is because we recognize the equality between them and not the difference. Any difference is insignificant. The similarities, though, are striking.
Their equalities have more to do with the fact that they have a common mammal ancestor. And the differences are due to the divergences in the evolutionary tree of life.
We know they're equal. Yet every time we sit down for a meal, we create that separation. We create that inequality.
God damn it, that separation has been made thousands of years ago by our ancestors to create subspecies to be either for food or for companionship. That's the end of the clip, but there's an hour and 10 minutes of this stuff. I do not have the attention span, nor the patience to go through that much right now. But I might give the entire thing a look in the future. We'll see. I'll be seeing you guys later. Thank you for watching A Civilized Beast's Opinion.